Good evening, gentle listener, and welcome to Distractible. This episode, menacing Mark gets a huge package and tries his best to destroy his friends' reputations. Well-hung Wade encourages excruciation, belittles buxom bots, admits to being prem, and bulls for backers. Big Bald Bob defends deathlessness, lords lenses, and has a boner for bones. From eating nuts to polyamory and polygamy, yes! It's time for What Distractible Stands For. Now sit back and prepare to be distracted and enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome back to Distractible. Thank you so much for watching on this new year. I know we already celebrated the new year, but it's still a new year, and I want to thank you, our loyal listeners and or viewers who are still listening to this podcast in the car. Brave of you. I'm your host, Markiplier, here to guide you through an experience that's unlike any other, definitely unlike anything that we've done before. I'm joined on this journey of newness with my friends, my fellow handsome men, extraordinarily large-testicled Bob and Wade.
It's very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a burden.
It's like having an eternal bouncy ball between your legs.
It's like being a Meryl forever. Is that the Pokemon that bounces on the tail a little bit?
Oh, what?
No, I for some reason imagined Meryl Streep, and I was like,
Meryl Streep bounces on her testicles all the time.
So in this episode, we're going to be talking about something that is going to be fun, adventurous, happy, freeing, some might say liberating for those who are participating in it, and also damning and condemning, and will probably annihilate the reputation and or future livelihood of one of our contestants here, and or both.
That's exciting, I think. Or maybe terrifying. It's both.
Points are on the line and reputations are on the line. And no matter what happens in the episode, the winner shall be declared free of all taint from the episode.
All balls, no taint?
You'll actually absorb the testicles of your opponent, and you'll grow a second set that will exist where your taint currently resides.
Stakes are low, stakes are high. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this. But before we do this, how are you guys doing?
My car is broken. It's a stupid thing that's broken. It's literally like a bolt on the seat bracket backed out, and it's a thing that I can't tighten myself because both it's difficult to reach and because it's a Torx head bolt and a square nut, and I have no tools to do. I don't have a big enough Torx bit. I don't have a thing that fit. Anyway, it's just annoying.
If you play your cards right, you might have a square nut at the end of this episode.
I get 3 square nuts a day, but that's neither here nor there.
Man, I feel you on the car front. My car.
Did your car become like a little crushed up cube or something? What happened to that thing?
Yeah, where is it?
It just got totaled, so the insurance company was like, oh, it's in very bad shape. Here's some money. And then they took it and they put it in a box and swept it away.
Okay, so in other news, Wade still doesn't have a car. Now, Bob, you don't have a car. What happened to it?
I own a car. It's just broken. It's literally just the seat. Nothing about it is broken mechanically. It works fine. It's just the driver's seat. And I just have to wait for the part to come in to go have the dealer basically screw it back together. And that's it. And like I could drive it, but the driver's seat just kind of like, you know, and like I did look, my car in college that I drove, you remember my blue Volkswagen that I had? Do you remember that the driver's seat was held up with milk crates?
I don't remember that specifically.
The driver's seat bracket rusted out and broke. And so what I did was I took 2 plastic milk crates and wedged them between the back seat and the back of the driver's seat, and then shoved the driver's seat back into it as hard as I could. And that's what kept the driver's seat from literally flopping over backwards while I drove that. Years I drove around like that.
That's industry standard now, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's basically better than stock. So I'm considering doing that with this car. It doesn't aesthetically, it doesn't go with the look that I'm trying to achieve. So it's less desirable.
It's basically a safety feature because if you get hit head on, somehow you'll go flying out the back with your seat included and out the rear window, and you'll be totally fine.
No, you know how the Cybertruck is facing a lot of scrutiny because it has no crumple zones right now, and that's a big save. I basically added a another crumple zone into that car. The front has a crumple zone, the back has a crumple zone, and then the driver's seat has its own crumple zone. Yeah, that was the safest thing I ever did, probably. Way safer than putting up bunk beds with chopped up plastic coat hanger.
Point for Bob. All right, Wade, what's going on?
In life or like right now? Because I just dipped a nuggie in some ketchup right now.
Either way.
Well, I dipped a nuggie in some ketchup and I was getting ready to take the bite when you said my name. I was really excited for the bite, but now I'm holding off to tell you about the bite.
Of 87?
Are you wanting me to get out of your way so you can carry on with your meal?
No, man. I love talking to you. It's almost as good as this bite of nuggie I'm waiting for. But our friendship always comes top 10.
Uh-huh.
So Wade, before you eat that nug,
Yeah, please. What's up?
is there a plan for the foam on your office wall behind you, or where's the foam at? How's that going?
Oh yeah, plan is to keep it right there. I'm hoping it doesn't run away. I've got trackers on each individual square just in case.
Before you eat that nugget.
Yeah, wait.
No,
Yeah.
I just have some more questions.
Okay, yeah, sure.
You said you were going to go car shopping, and I believe that you are. Aren't you worried about you're going to hurt the feelings of your old car? I know it was totaled, but it still has feelings.
If so, it doesn't really matter because it's dead to me, and so are its feelings. It's kind of like when you lose a person, you kind of talk to them for a little while, you go to the cemetery, and then you forget, and you go less and less over the years, and it's kind of like, oh God, they don't even care about me anymore anyway. I've forgotten them, they've forgotten me, you know? It's just how cars are.
Wait, I haven't forgotten about you, though. I know you have more foam. Can you grab a piece? I know you have some by your desk. Just like show me. I want to know exactly how you're mounting this. I'm worried about the safety.
All my ketchup dripped on my desk. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I've got this corner piece, for example, that goes in the corner. So what I do is I double sticky the back and I to the corner and it stays.
That's really cool. What about the flat pieces?
Yeah, man, I got those too. Here's one. I also just put 2 of the command strips on the back of these, and crazy how that works.
Yeah, where'd you buy it?
Oh, Mr. Bezos sent it my way for a small cash fee.
Who's that?
I think he used to work at McDonald's, and now he owns Amazon.
Wade, follow-up question.
Yeah, man. What's up?
We can see the posters, the framed posters behind you, but you can only really see the bottom 3 edges. And I'm just curious, does the frame go all the way around the 4th edge of those?
Yeah, the top edge. The top.
Did you cheap out on the framing, or is the top also framed?
No, they're there, see?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool,
Okay, cool. Oh, wait. Now that I'm looking at your camera, I think the white balance is a little off. I think you might need to go into the menu. It seems a little on the cold side. It's not really showing like the warmth. It's pretty.
Look, very balanced, as all things should. Look how white that is.
That's look a little blue.
No, no, very white. Isn't that beautiful?
Nah, you know what? Now that you already took your nugget, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Oh, okay.
What did you just spit out? What's wrong with you?
No, I just wiped my mouth, man.
Why did you wipe your mouth like that? It looked like you were...
Because I put on chapstick earlier and I felt like a crumb was sticking to my lip.
Fair. Point for Wade. It's all tied up for the small talk, which means we got to go to our special wheel over here. Sam, play some game show music.
I can almost hear it.
Yeah, just run the whole intro for the game show. Keep going. Maybe do one of those features where they're like, today's episode is sponsored by Sandals. Contestants have a chance to win a trip to Sandals, Trinidad, Tobago.
Maybe even have like a full 90s sitcom opening. Just us like...
And your host, Markiplier.
Yes, welcome to what might be the sequel of an episode that I don't remember the name of.
Woo, yeah, part 2.
If only this were written down somewhere.
Also, I don't want to say it out loud what I think it is because it's going to spoil it. But what we're going to do here is determine who's going first.
Also, I love the thought that you were like, I need 15 minutes to get ready. And it was to make a wheel that had our names on it.
All right, Wade, you're up first.
Oh,
congratulations, you are...
It's a wheel that has pro, con, for, against. Oh, crap.
You are pro.
Oh, those are small. This is another big wheel that I can't read while it's spinning.
You are pro.
Oh, man.
Torture.
Great. All right.
Does that mean I'm anti-torture?
Yes, this is the game show, probably an offshoot of Morals or No Morals, but it's not determined who has morals and who hasn't because it's random every time. Wade.
Why is Hitler on the list?
Yeah, no, Wade was almost just pro-Hitler. I don't know about that one.
It's not just bad things, there's also good things on here. So, I have a list of things written on a list on a big wheel that I'm going to spin. It's all random because we're going to alternate after the first round. Wade goes first, but after that, it is still going to be random what side Bob is going to be on. It's going to be a wheel that's spun, telling him whether he's for or against a random subject on the next wheel. We'll go back and forth. We'll have 60 seconds to make your case, 60 seconds for your opponent, and then 30 seconds to make a counterpoint. And I may reduce the timer as the game goes on. Winner at the end is absolved of all sins, so they can say whatever they want. Right now, it's all good unless they lose, and then they will get responsibility for all the words that they said, and they believe everything, and it will be written on their tombstone. So, wait, here's what you need to do in order to win the point here. You need to convince me. I am the impartial judge here, an arbitrator. You're making the argument for torture. Bob, you're making the argument against torture. 90 seconds on the clock to make your case. Bob will have time to counter it, and you'll get 30 seconds to match it. Actually, let's make it 60-60, and then 30 for a counterpoint. All right, and 60 seconds on the clock.
All right, so here's the thing. If someone tortures somebody, you torture them because eye for an eye. But wait, eye for an eye and the whole world's blind. Yes, you know what else is blind? Justice. And justice is a good thing, so therefore not a good argument. Second of all, if you need to get information fast, what you do, poke, prod, waterboard, light them on fire, tickle their toes, all kinds of disgusting, horrible shit. Hide the remote. It will get them talking because they want it to stop. Another thing, Mark, being a masochist, you understand that sometimes torture can be good for both parties, right? You get the fun and joy out of being the one poking and prodding, but also that person might be like, oh no, please don't do it, yeah! Where internally they're really enjoying it, but it's the whole fun role play aspect of things. Second of all, sometimes you have to, right? Like it's not a fun thing to admit, but sometimes whenever you need to get information for something like, I've watched the show 24, and Jack Bauer, sometimes he has to torture, get info to save the whole world. So if you're going to have to do it, it's got to be done.
Wow, that was compelling. You know, I like the approaches you took. I don't know if I like the masochism route.
You do.
Bob, you are against torture. That was a very strong opening statement by Wade. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right, here we go.
First, I just want to say my opponent doesn't even know how to count, so I don't know how much validity you should lend to his arguments. He said secondly on his fourth point. Also, I want to say my opponent conflated the idea of pain for pleasure with torture. The very notion of torture is that it is negative, it is harmful, it is hurtful, it is for the purpose of obtaining information. And to that point, it is successful. You are successfully going to extract information when you torture someone, almost definitely, especially if you're willing to go however far it takes to get to torture them to get information. But do you want accurate information, or do you want any information that they'll say while you torture them? Because if you really want someone to tell you the truth, torture is a scientifically proven method to get untrue, inaccurate, unverifiable information. If you actually care about what information you are getting, or if you actually care about, I don't know, humanity, torture is not effective or valuable.
So we get a rebuttal?
You get 25 seconds.
Mark, I'm feeling strong about this episode. I gotta be honest.
Okay, good. All right. And go.
Mainly, I want to focus on the fact that Bob said torture and is inherently torture, but torture for one person can be pleasure for another. And sometimes people do have their pain and pleasure centers somewhat crossed. So you can get pleasure out of pain, i.e. like clawing down the back or biting various other things. Tickling to one person could be complete torture where someone else might enjoy it. So it really depends on if you're focusing on the torture being torture of the person or the torturing by the torturer. So they can be the same thing.
So with all the arguments on the table, I feel like Wade was too focused on torture being pleasure. And even if there are masochists out there, which I'm not,
Oh, wink.
I'm going to give the point to Bob. Bob for saying that torture is bad. I can't believe it took that much for us to get to that point, but here we are.
Wade's such a bad person.
I feel like you're focusing only on my rebuttal, not my original prompt. That's fine, whatever.
But Bob did have a good point about torture being scientifically proven to get incorrect information because the subjects are too focused on making the pain stop.
Have we even scientifically proven that science is good?
He's got a point.
You want me to put science on the wheel? We'll determine it.
Add science to this.
All right, we replace torture with science because we don't know.
I didn't know what some of those words were. Can I be honest?
So I'll go through the list for you just to make it a little easier. Health, murder, mental health, coffee, time travel, lenses, space elevators, zymology.
What's that one?
We'll get to it. Death, numismatics,
Don't know what that
endangered
is.
species, cryonics, VR, nanobots, cryptocurrency, cryptozoology, speleology,
Don't know what that is.
narcotics, surveillance, necrophilia, colonization, polygamy, sex robots, onology, patriarchy, matriarchy, hedonism, Hitler, blowing up the moon, and science. We're going to be diving in.
Some of these topics seem a little bit heavier than others. VR or Hitler. I mean, okay.
This is like the secret mod discussions for mods of a conspiracy theory subreddit. These are what we're going to really focus on this year.
Look, it'll all balance out because you don't know if you're going to be pro or against it.
Are you pro time travel or pro Hitler? It's got to be one.
I don't know. We're going to find out. Bob, you are going to be... Also, I'm spinning a wheel for or against. You're going to be pro.
Oh, you're going to get like lenses or something and just auto win.
Here we go. Well, we don't know. We don't know.
Come on, science.
All right. You are pro living forever.
Yeah, that's one of the worst ones, Bob. You're screwed.
This is interesting. All right. So...
Mark is making the screen do seizure things. Mark, why is that happening? Click reset, for God's sake.
All right. I don't know what that was. All right. Bob, as going first, you're going to have a minute, and then you'll have 25 seconds for your final rebuttal. And begin.
This is an easy one. Philosophically, the question of whether or not you would want to live forever is tough, and the answer is unclear because living forever poses a lot of conundrums. You'd have to watch everyone you ever knew or loved die. There are certainly downsides to it. The simple and end-all be-all answer to this argument is it's better to live forever than to die forever. The thing about living forever is that there is infinite opportunity in that. There is more there are more people, there are more things, there is more to experience, there is more to do. It may cause you a lot of philosophical anguish, but you may eventually ascend to be a superhuman being. You may learn the secrets of the cosmos. I don't know because I don't get to do that. But I do know that if you die, you are dead forever. There is no coming back to life. There is no going back. There's no undoing that. And it's always better to have opportunity than to shut a door permanently and unreconcilably.
That was a compelling point. I'm not writing down a point here. I'm just trying to remember where we stand. So we are against torture. Distractible as a whole, so far as definitively here at Distractible, we are against it. Anyway, wait, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Begin.
Thank you, Bob, for agreeing with me for the first 15 seconds of your point. Living forever sounds terrible. One, what if your body continues to age or your mind continues to degrade? Then what is your existence? Outliving all your loved ones, as you pointed out, means that you're left alone and with nothing eventually. Existence once your body, planet, etc. are gone means what? You're just a floating mind out there with nothing to do besides think and remember and regret being alive. No peace found in death, whereas, peace and tranquility might actually come once the end is there, especially if your mind and body are degrading. Die dead forever, you claimed as a fact, but what about religion, faith in something such as heaven, reincarnation, other theories on what might happen to the mind once the body is gone, or the soul? There's a lot to be debated about what the soul even is. On top of that, I would say that living forever just doesn't even sound like something I would want. Like, I don't want to live long enough to see like my children outgrow and die, and then my grandchildren outgrow and die, and everyone else. Unless you're assuming everybody lives forever, in which case it's just not feasible to think that, because then about resources and everything else, what's going to end up happening? Disagree.
Very good points across the board. I think that was compelling. I didn't think I would be swayed. But Bob, you have 25 seconds for a final rebuttal.
My opponent posits that your body and mind will continue to degrade, but I would say that if your argument is that you're going to live literally forever, that the point is that you get to continue to live forever in a state that counts as living. You're not going to be a puddle of goo that's technically alive. Also, my opponent focused entirely on this life, but the whole point of living forever is that it's beyond the fathoming for humans, because we don't get to do that. You would essentially be some kind of god as far as we're concerned, and who knows if that's good or bad.
An interesting argument. This is pretty tough. I don't know where my gut wants to go on this, because instinctively, I am not really of the mind that I want to live forever. I am kind of just like, one life is a very motivating thing, death occurring and being there. However, as a collective here, Bob did make some very strong arguments as for the ascension to godhood. And that is appealing to me. I know, Wade, you brought up religion, but the whole basis of religion and that idea of like an afterlife, a lot of it, the phrasing is based around the idea of living forever. So bringing that up, I don't know, helped your cause, because if you go to church and a lot of religion based on like, you can have eternal life in the kingdom of heaven, which I feel works to Bob's point.
Eternal life only comes after death.
Yeah, but Bob then he made another point saying like it doesn't mean like the series of existences doesn't have to be permanent physical forever. He opened it up to many different possibilities. I think I have to give this one to Bob, even though it's against my personal philosophy.
No, I'm shocked. What an upset.
We at Distractible are for living forever, and Bob gets the point. Congratulations, Bob. All right, but you know, Wade, it is one of those things where it could go either way. It's not guaranteed that you're for this next thing. You could argue against. So, but you, as being the first person go, do have an advantage. You didn't in the last one, or the one before you had an advantage, you still lost. But 3 is a pattern. 2 is a coincidence.
Sure, man. Let's go. Let's do this.
Wade is against.
All right, you are against sex robots.
Ooh, that's
you are
interesting.
anti-sex robots.
Of all things I wanted to really fight against, this was number 1 on my list. So I'm glad to be of this position. Let's go.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Look, sex robots aren't real. They're robots, right? We're not talking about AI, sophisticated living being. We're talking about a robot that is programmed to have sex. So you're not going to get any meaningful companionship out of it. It's literally just meaningless sex, and that's it. And I got to throw out a big one here, maybe the biggest one. A robot has to be maintained and cleaned. So you're not even talking about something that's going to go like hop in the shower afterward. You got to scrub down when you're done. And that just sounds very unpleasant and kind of completely defeats the purpose of the mood. On top of that, what is a robot going to offer you outside of the sex? Anything else? It's going to where are you going to store it? How are you going to explain to people that come over, friends, family? It's like, oh yeah, that's just the fuck bot in the corner. It's not like you can hide it in your drawer. It's a whole fucking robot that's going to be chilling around. You're going to bring it to a dinner party with you. Like, oh yeah, this is robot. Sure, might give you a good 10, 15 seconds of fun, and then it's 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 40 seconds of being in the fucking way.
Oh man, I love the self-reporting there, right?
The boldest self-report in Distractible history.
Did I say 15 seconds? I meant 15 minutes.
15 hours straight is what I meant.
Yeah, 15 hours.
Bold play. It might have worked in your favor there.
Look, if I'm going to argue, I got to be honest.
I respect the honesty, sir.
23 hours, 59 minutes, and 45 seconds of being in the way.
All right, Bob, you're in a bit of a disadvantage here.
Oh, I'm ready.
3, 2.
We here at Distractible are positively in favor of living forever, and part of the scientific research that needs to go into living forever for humanity is the development of robotics. I think we can all agree that in a future where humans can be uploaded into robotic bodies, sex is a thing that we're gonna want. We want systems that will give us the full human experience, that will give us the full connection and intimacy that you can have with a normal, fleshy human partner. This is just part of that development. I'm not going to comment on the social questions around whether it's good or bad for the individuals. That is for you to decide on your own basis. But if this is important robotic development, we need to develop these systems now, because in the future, when humans' bodies fail them, but their minds seek to persist, and we develop the rest of the science to make that happen, we're gonna want this part of the robotic science to be well developed.
Wow, that was really good. Coming at it from an angle of future use and utility. I like that a lot. That swung me back a bit, but Wade, you have 25 seconds to finalize. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, 3, 2.
Do you have sex doll pistons stuck in your ears? Because I mentioned the fact that we're not talking about AI yet. We're talking about robots, and robots are underdeveloped right now, and therefore just a chunk of metal and fake flesh sitting in our way. And you could talk about what might be in the future, and developing something sure sounds great. But as it is right now, a sex robot in the current moment, 15 seconds of good, 23 hours, 59 minutes, 45 seconds of being in the way. Not AI, robot.
That is an interesting point, and you reiterated it in your first one because you did kind of defined the parameters of the argument around robot being a more machine-like thing. I just have a quick question. When you think of sex robot, are you thinking of like a steam press that lowers from the ceiling above your bed and just kind of chunk, 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 chunk? Or is it still in human form?
Anything robotic. I was picturing a sex doll that has like 3 peens in a pod. We talked about like the whole program. There was one that had like 6 programmable personalities or something. I'm thinking of something like that where it's got like, oh, I want, I don't know, Texan cowgirl personality, and it's got like 18 voice lines. You fucking pull the nipple and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you sure are big. It's like, great. I love that. Thank you.
I'm with you hesitantly, only because you have somehow, in my mind, painted the most abhorrent idea of a sex robot. You have distorted my idea of what a sex robot could be and reduced it down to just the most bizarre, unlubricated, hard-edged metal monstrosity.
It's like the Cybertruck with the vagina.
Yeah, it's just like that. Or Gonk from Star Wars, just like you know, the little trash can guy. No crumple zone. You have made this so unappealing that I don't care if I only last 15 seconds. I think I am against this, and I'm going to give Wade the point. We here at Distractible are officially against Big Timer.
Now, have you guys seen the new plug-in hybrid sex doll stuff?
You gotta pull cord it, but it's also got a battery. Runs silent under 5 miles an hour.
Just hands and mouth, just.
No, you know what? So there's definitely a YouTube channel out there that's like one of those funny DIY ones. It's gonna do like a 2-stroke chainsaw powered sex doll.
Oh,
you put a chainsaw in her hand and she's all like.
Yeah, well, you know, it's all about converting the motion. It's all about the angles and the thing. You know, and I'm not the engineer.
This is why at Distractible we are against sex robots because you can't
sex robots
because you can't trust these two to design them. We cannot be trusted here. All right, Bob, you are going to be
oh, good. I'm in favor of something.
I thought I distributed these to be like opposites, but I'll fix that next time. You are for. You are for.
Yes! Yes!
You're for lenses.
Give me the point. I already win, baby.
Oh, god damn it, dude. Can we just skip this and give him the point?
We'll make this a quick round. How about we just keep this to 30 second, and a 15. We'll just like
even the point.
Let's go through the motions here. We all know how this is gonna go, but Bob, are you ready?
Yeah,
All right, and go.
Mark, the historical significance of the Minolta, the Leica Minolta cooperative lens that it just can't be overstated. You're preserving history.
Yes.
And they're hand ground. It's artisanal lenses. They're never going to be recreated. They don't even use those chemicals to coat lenses anymore.
Yes, they don't.
Once they're gone if they're not preserved.
Oh man, I only lasted 30 seconds. Okay, Wade.
That's twice as long as I lasted with the sex robots.
Wade, do you want to go the full 30
I'm ready.
The violent, jagged sex robot.
All right, 3, 2.
There's other types of lenses too. Contact lenses, while seemingly good, if you sleep in contact lenses, they can be harmful over time. You don't want to do that. Also, looking at lenses, a lens can also be used in like a political spectrum to look at different lenses of things, such as personal, state, nation, global. There's different lenses with which to apply looking at the world. But if you look at things only in lenses, you kind of lose the forest through the trees because you're only looking at things through one lens at a time, whereas you need the big picture sometimes. So lenses can also be bad in that sense.
Interesting. All right. That's taking it in a direction. It was very open-ended. It just, again, Wade's strategy is defining the parameters of the argument. I think that's interesting. Very, very fun. Bob, you have 15 seconds for your final rebuttal.
Dry box. 40 lenses.
Oh, man.
You crack it open. The satisfying whoosh of the airtight seal being broken. The smell of the 1970s era glass and metal.
I feel like giving the host a handy should be prohibited, but
No, in the bylaws that we stated in Distractible when we founded this organization, we declared anything goes for points. Bob, you win. Wade, eat your nuggets. We are 4 lenses here. Oh, thank you, Bob, for declaring Distractible to be 4 lenses. I am so ready. And I was impartial.
Yeah, that was a close one.
I want everyone to know I am impartial.
God.
All right, now give Wade pro Hitler and let's get this over with.
Wade, here we go. You are going to be...
I'm excited.
Ooh,
He's pro.
He's pro.
Oh, we're already basically a third of the way there.
He's pro. Okay, pro.
Come on, baby. Come on, Wheel of Fairness.
You're pro. Oh, onology.
I don't know what this one is.
So,
I gotta be honest.
onology is wine, the study of wines. So you are pro wine and or the study of wines.
Perfect.
Wine away.
All right, so I'm pro the study of a lot of things. I think studying almost anything can be useful because even if something is like bad or unhealthy or unhelpful, studying and knowing that is in and of itself helpful, and knowledge is always useful. Wine itself, one, tastes delicious. As someone who doesn't drink a lot of alcohol, I can tell you that there is bitter wine, there's kind of like wine in the middle, there's sweet wine. I'm a sweet wine kind of person. Wine, though, can help just take the edge off. Anything in excess is bad, but like a glass of wine can actually even be good for you. I believe red wines are actually good for like your liver or different organs that have like a glass a day, kind of like a cup of coffee can be good. So wine, pro wine, as long as you drink in moderation. The study of wine, why not? And also wine is just one of those things that seems fancy. It's fun to hold a wine glass. You can kind of put your pinky out. It gives you another topic of conversation to have. And we've even had it where we've gone to a restaurant and had an entire conversation with a wine expert while eating. And it's been fascinating learning not only the study of wine itself or about specific wines, but the history of wine, the location of wine, which helps you learn more about culture.
That was very compelling. Extremely. It's so dense. Your argument is like extremely dense and diverse. And it takes me on a nice journey that I feel like is a view into your mind. And I don't know if I like that or not, but we'll find out. Bob, ready for your counter?
Yeah.
3, 2.
I lived in wine country for 4 years, and I can tell you that the only thing people who make wine are studying when they study the making of wine is how to make wine that costs more per bottle. The subjective nature of whether a wine tastes good or bad to a person is almost entirely up to the development of your palate, what you like, what you don't like. Wine doesn't cost more because it tastes good. It costs more because they found a way to justify it. It comes with a name. It comes with a label. It comes with a whatever. It's a capitalist scheme to convert money from your pockets into money into their pockets and give you the fanciest grape juice that they can in return. I have no problem with studying things that are worthwhile and beneficial, but there are about 1 million crops that you could study that would tell you more valuable information about farming and crop yield and all kinds of stuff than grapes do. It's nothing more than a money-making scam.
So going at it, it's like it's just an empire built to make money. That's not worthy of study. Interesting developments. Wade, you have 25 seconds. Whoa.
23, 22, 21.
Oh, okay.
Wade, your time has already started 5 seconds ago. Go!
And Wade, go.
All right, so despite human fault, wine still has the benefits mentioned before, being one, tasting good, two, actually good for you to have in moderation, and making conversation, everything else. We can't blame wine for humans wanting to make money on it. Two, cost capitalism are temporary in our infinite existence since we're all living forever, right? So if we're so worried about capitalism, that's not really taking into account our infinite existence, which seems kind of cynical for someone who argued against or all for eternal life.
Did I miss a technological development? Are we currently living forever?
You got to use that in an argument against me. Oh, wait, if we're living forever.
I am in favor of that experience. It doesn't exist.
All right. I won't count anything after the timer as being part of this.
I will kick you in the nuts.
I will punch you in the navel.
I could take it.
I could give it.
I just want to see if my body can take it.
I just want to see if my body can give it.
Markiplier 2025. I should see if my body can give it. I've been taking for too long.
So there was a good arguments across the board. However, Bob, I feel like you focused too much on the financials, whereas Wade had a myriad of reasons, including health and prosperity and just goodness for the meal, like making it a more enjoyable experience. You know, ever since I've gone to the steakhouse I go to, they actually have a sommelier. I think you guys were there. It's in Glendale.
I've gone, yeah.
There's a sommelier there. Wait, he recommended that weird, kind of oddly stinky but deliciously captivating wine. I don't drink much, but I had a sip and I was like, I'm not a wine guy. I was like, what the frick? This is actually good. And he recommended a cheap bottle at the same time where he's like, you get this expensive one, but he's like, don't worry about that. This one's an affordable bottle that'll give you the same experience. And I appreciated that. So I think that we at Distractible are pro-oenology.
I'm shocked.
And that's another point for Wade. Congratulations, Wade.
Bob, you got lenses. You got no room to complain. The rest, you got the one trump card of the episode.
He could have been against lenses too. So, Bob, you got to consider yourself lucky. Okay, Bob, you are going to be... You are 4. Oh, I forgot to remove the last one.
I hope you get 4 death after living forever. I would love to see how you would...
Oh, I could reconcile that easy.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
I'm in favor of necrophilia.
Oh, no. Well, it's Bob's responsibility to guide us. The future of this podcast is in your hands, Bob.
In favor of necrophilia.
And go.
The human experience is complicated, and we are not here to say whether someone's innermost desires are true or false, but what I am here to say is that Distractible is in favor of freedom. And we are in favor of you having the right to do what you will with other consenting adults, and there can be such thing as consent given before one passes away, and there can be such thing as love that persists even through death, and there can be such desires that we may not understand ourselves and may not mean anything to us, and as long as it is fully consenting, totally legitimate, totally safe, totally fair. I am not personally interested in this practice at all, but who am I to say that I know what is and is not a part of being human? I say live and let live, as long as everyone is a consenting adult.
That was very powerful. I feel like it would have been more powerful if it ended on die and let live. I hate how compelling that argument was.
I mean, someone has to be alive for it to be necrophilia. Otherwise, just 2 dead people fucking, right?
You could have made that the basis of your argument, too. That would have been. But you do have a rebuttal. That was very compelling. Weirdly compelling. Wade.
Look, necrophilia has been admonished by cultures forever for a reason. Bob mentioned consent. I'm not sure how a corpse consents, even if they wrote a consent form prior to dying or said they consented prior to dying. I don't know how you feel once you're actually dead. Probably don't feel anything at all. And death is the end. One-sided sex kind of feels like the sex robot discussion, which we kind of already ruled on, where if it's just a thing that's there to be good for 15 seconds and then is just a corpse, which I feel like is a lot stinkier and worse than a robot in many ways, not so good. On top of that, respecting the dead, like, you know, we'd have burial rites. We do the whole, like, put you on a raft, light you on fire. We have planning making you a tree. There's all kinds of ways to, like, respect the dead body that don't involve putting your dick in it. I feel like the heebie-jeebie ooh feeling that we get thinking about necrophilia is probably argument enough to be against it.
You have such a slam dunk. How did you? All right, I'm not gonna make any judgments. That's fine.
Just you doing a freaking The Office, looking at the camera. Not so good. Just really killed me. All right, Bob. I thought Wade was gonna run away with it.
I feel like I'm still in this fight with a shot. I feel like
He's shockingly. You are. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
And go.
And my opponent focused entirely on the establishment of social norms, which both change and are often invalid as to defining what is or is not a moral and upright thing to do in this world. And also basically just said it creeps him out. And I'm not saying that anyone has to do this, and I'm not saying that I would do this, because I'm equally uncomfortable with the notion. But we are not saying it's for us. We are saying it's for consenting adults.
I acknowledged consent in my topic as well.
You basically dismissed consent and ignored the idea that you could give consent prior to death, such as legal powers of attorney, so on, so on. There are all kinds of things you just ignored out of hand. You didn't acknowledge it.
That is a point. I'm not going to continue that in the argument. I was already thinking that because, yes, it's like, yeah, power of attorney and like wills in general are like the last wishes of those who have passed. And so I can't really say, for just looking at this from a judge here that is basing my decision and the future of this podcast on the arguments made here. Bob wanted the point so bad he made an incredibly compelling argument. Wade, I feel like you fumbled it there a little bit by maintaining too much of the emotional attachment and like the ew factor of it, which, to be fair, should stand on its own, but Bob came at it from an angle, and I feel like it's the only angle.
I feel like changing consent was also a pretty important thing. I just didn't dwell on it because it kind of stood on its own legs.
Nope, we here at Distractible are officially and forever pro necrophilia. Oof. Bob, why'd you have to argue so good?
The point is to win no matter the cost, right?
Maybe we should make it so that at the end of the episode, the loser is for all of these things. We could do that.
Yeah, sure. Retcon it. There's definitely not an audio clip of you saying, "We here at Distractible are for."
It hasn't happened yet. I could change that to Wade here at Distractible.
That wasn't even my argument. It was Bob's.
At the end of this episode, there would be some absolving of sins.
Editor, can we keep the clip of a third of the way in, Mark saying, "I'm the loser"?
I could change that to Wade here. No, taint will be obscured. You're going to get all of Bob's taint if you lose, but you still could win, and this could work in your advantage.
Sure.
You've won twice.
It's 4. All right. I don't know why. It seems very positive. It feels very positive.
And maybe it's just the wheel likes the blue and the yellow. It's a good color. It doesn't like.
All right. Wade, you are 4.
Come on, Hitler. Come on, Hitler. Come on, Hitler.
You are for the matriarchy. Wade, you're for the matriarchy. You have 1 minute to make your argument. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And go.
We've seen the patriarchy. The patriarchy obviously hasn't worked out to be so great. There's a lot of problems in the world, and people have been mistreated for a lot of reasons. Responsible, you trace it back to all the way to the patriarchy. The matriarchy, on the other hand, we haven't really gotten to fully see yet, except for in theory or some like smaller examples. As a person who personally was raised by my mom, my grandma more than anybody else, I think I turned out relatively well. I was a moral kid growing up. Pretty smart kid. I behaved myself, haven't gotten into trouble, and have seen relatively good success. And I feel like a lot of that's attributed to having 2 women raise me. I would love to see a society that is taken care of by the matriarchy, because I feel like there's something nurturing about a mother's love that perhaps matriarchy or, women in power would be able to express and carry on that men aren't able to. And I think at the very least, getting to see it in practice on a larger scale and getting to experience it would at least show us whether or not it is better. And I believe it, in fact, very much would be.
Fascinating. Excellent discussion. Well done. Well spoken. Bob, are you ready?
I want to say something outside of the time. This does not count.
Okay.
I just want to say I'm going to take the high road, and I'm not going to talk about what happened to your other siblings.
Oh, well.
I'm not going to, you turned out really good, and I don't want to cast aspersions because honestly, I don't know your family that well, but I do know that at least one of your brothers turned out in a way that I would say would be less positive than you turned out as a person, probably.
If we were actually going that route, I would have a myriad of reasons why that happened.
Let's keep it civil. Let's keep it.
I just had, you said that and I had that thought, but I don't want to that's not my argument. I have a much.
All right. We're not counting it.
Go for it. Go for my balls. Punch them.
No, I don't. I want to fondle your balls. I don't want to kick them.
Bob, go.
I think the issues of patriarchal society, as my opponent has pointed out, are clear and myriad, but I don't think that the solution is to swing violently in the other direction. I think that society would be best served by actual egalitarianism, by people actually being allowed to be who they want to be defined by their actions instead of by how they were born, who they are, things they have no control over. I don't think defining women by motherhood is fair. I think that's limiting. I think women have a lot more than motherly love to offer the world, and that is not necessarily what every woman has to offer either. I think people should be valued based on what they do in this world and based on their value as a human, not their value as a man or a woman or a mother or anything like that.
Wade, you have 25 seconds for your final rebuttal. Ready and go.
Bob mentioned that we doesn't think the solution would be a good matriarchy, but we don't know because we've not really gotten to experience it. Defining women by motherhood isn't what I did. I added it as a positive attribute that I think would be affecting of things that I think would be positive. Not that it's the only thing. I just only got so many seconds. Experiences that we've had, I think I've all pretty much been patriarchal. So we can talk about egalitarianism, but we haven't seen it. So therefore the experiences of...
Whoop. You ran out of time.
Okay, Bob went like 5 seconds over last time, but it's cool. I get how this goes.
You really want to pick a fight right now? Is that what you want to do before the winner's been declared?
Yes.
Bob, I feel like your argument wasn't specifically targeting why the matriarchy itself was a bad idea and was more about trying to dismantle Wade's points that he made without fully reinforcing why matriarchy bad. So even though Wade fumbled the bag, stumbled across the finish line, was doing like somersaults on the way there, and then insulted me at the line after he stumbled across the checkered flag.
I'm just pointing out your discrepancies in hosting.
I have to give him the point because I'm a fair and impartial judge.
Of course.
It'll be Bob's turn to go first, but what I'm going to offer both of you right now is a chance to wager points. Bob, you have 5. Wade, you have 4. You can wager as many as you want. It's all or nothing, but you do not know what you're going to be doing, obviously, as the rest of the game goes. So you don't know whether you're going to be for or against something. It's just purely an opportunity to wager if you would like.
I wager all of my points. I either win or I lose.
Okay, Bob's wagering all of his points.
I wager none, so I either win or I lose.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah, sure. All right.
Plus, Mark's super biased in my favor.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. All right. Bob, you are going to be against. All right. Interesting.
Come on, Ocean. Give me Ocean.
You are against polygamy.
What is polygamy, specifically? Because I don't want to operate on false information.
Okay, let's get the actual definition. Polygamy, the practice or custom of having one or more wife or husband at the same time. In zoology, it's a pattern of mating in which an animal has more than one mate. In botany, it's the condition of bearing some flowers with stamens only, some with pistils only, and some with both on the same or different plants. That just sounds like flowers. So you can take any of those definitions. The choice is yours, and go.
The notion of being tied to someone for the rest of your life is antiquated in and of itself. The idea that you have to take multiple husbands or wives and able to have a satisfying life or to be satisfied as a person in whatever ways that you're looking for, I feel like is equally antiquated. I am not against having multiple partners for fun and or social interactions or whatever intimate things you might be into in your personal life. But specifically, I do not think it's necessary to wed multiple people. I don't necessarily think it's necessary to wed anyone at all. I think adult humans are able to make commitments to each other in meaningful and lasting ways. And I think if we want to be a modern society, progressing beyond the idea of defining something in such a narrow and specific way and moving towards more freedom and more personal whatever. Look, I already said the good stuff earlier.
I don't know exactly where that last thought was going because where it drifted off could have been ambiguously judged against your argument with the freedom thing. Wade, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Your argument. Go.
My opponent defined polygamy as being like marriage specific and saying like, having multiple partners, all that's good. I mean, that's part of polygamy is having multiple partners. So I think he's partially arguing for me, which I appreciate. Multiple partners, whether it's in marriage or not, also means multiple incomes. It means more companionship, more reproduction if you want to have a larger family. Also, Sexual variety keeps things fresh, keeps things fun and interesting. Love is being defined between only two people is a definition that we just kind of say and assume because it's what we were kind of taught growing up. But it's a limiting factor that's not necessarily proof true. You can love more people than one. And there are some very successful polygamous relationships. And I think one example of a polygamous relationship being successful and good is all you really need to show that it can be. There's bad examples of two people. There's bad examples of being alone. Sure, there's bad examples of polygamous relationships too. But all you need to show is one for there to, in theory, be an infinite number of them. For those reasons, I'm pretty confident in saying polygamy can be a great thing.
That was compelling. That was a much better showing than your last argument, Wade.
Thanks, man.
You're
You know how to build us up.
Bob, speaking of bad last arguments, it started out strong. Now is your chance to either finish it off or address those points that Wade just made. Are you ready?
I got a harsh angle, and I'm going to go right for it.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
I'm so confident I don't even need the full 25 seconds to express the sentiment that I'm about to explain to you. My opponent does not even know what polygamy is. Polygamy, very specifically and particularly, is having multiple spouses. It exactly and is related to marriage. It is not polyamory or polysexuality. It is marriages. He doesn't even know what we're talking about.
I was thinking the same thing because, Wade, we took the time to go and establish the definition. And even if there are different definitions, the one that we used for this argument was more than one wife or husband at the same time.
I also used the sentence that even if it is marriage prior to going in. I disagree with the establishment, but then I said even if it is marriage, and then I made all my points.
So would you say that you correctly equated my argument with your argument, even though you inaccurately described my argument?
I'm saying some of your points about having multiple partners would apply even in the spousal way.
You made points that relate to polyamory. This is polygamy.
You made points that argue in favor of things other than the one thing you were supposed to make points in favor of.
I don't think that's true.
Because your points apply to polygamy and also polyamory does not mean that you argued effectively in favor of specifically polygamy. It's a different thing.
Yes, you made points and they are valid. We are not invalidating those statements, but it's to the accuracy of the specificity of this topic. And Bob made a good point in the beginning, stumbled towards the end, and then reiterated.
And I finished all of mine, and you're like, good points, Wade, much better showing.
Yes.
It was.
I'm not saying it was bad.
I basically went all in on a technicality. I gotta be honest, I'm shocked this is working so well, but I'll take it.
This is an example of Bob, you like playing the rule book. You made good points, but he's playing the rules specifically in trying to get like the ref to wave a flag or whatever it is in the sport world that it happens. Tyler's a better analysis of this.
So because my points were great, but they also apply to another scenario, they're not great?
You're still operating on the basis that your points are great.
You said they were!
I said you argued well.
Yeah, I think you did make good points.
I'm just gonna go smoke whatever you guys are on and join you here soon.
Oh, okay, all right. We got a sore loser over here just because he wagered nothing.
Hey, Wade, this is a show about rules and following them.
All right, Wade is trying to debate something that is completely unrelated because, Wade,
oh my goodness.
On top, this is about polygamy. And we here at Distractible are against polygamy!
I feel like I completely got hosed in that. Look, the torture when I got hosed. This last one, the biggest hosing in this show's history.
No, not the biggest hosing in the show's history.
Yeah, I think it might be.
You did specify into the area of polyamory and not specifically polygamy.
At the beginning, and then I said, but even if we're talking about marriage, all of these points are still better than ruling them out.
That doesn't mean you win.
Clearly.
You're right. You know what? You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it goes.
I think this is the biggest hosing in this show's history. Let me know in the subreddit.
I think you're forgetting a lot of things that have happened on this show.
Yeah, I think you're too focused on what you said and you're ignoring what Bob said in his first argument.
No, I heard his first argument and I heard his rebuttal. After his first argument and my first argument, it seemed like I was in a commanding lead.
This seems contentious. This seems interesting. I'm going to give a strange new thing here. You're each going to get 30 more seconds. And this time, because remember, we're talking about the argument of specifically polygamy, you want another opportunity, Wade, because you feel you were robbed, and this is a very fair podcast, and I am a very fair judge. Even though I was convinced that Bob and his argument was superior and more specific, I'm going to give you a chance, because I know you feel like you're robbed, and if you can convince me in 30 seconds, but remember, Bob is going to get another 30 seconds after this.
Let's do it.
And go!
Again, a larger family kind of implies marriage. If you're building a family, in theory, you're getting married. More incomes, you usually don't combine your incomes until you're married, so that also implies marriage specifically. Sexual variety in marriage, because if you're with one person for a long period of time, half of marriages in the US at least usually fail, give or take. Polygamous marriages have a chance at least maybe of keeping things fresher on the sexual side. And then love, if you're in love and you're together, getting married is sometimes a consummation of that love. Marriage is an important aspect of that.
All right, Bob, are you ready?
I don't need to make any further arguments. I think everything I already said stands on its own, but I am going to make a declaration. This is not technically a loser's speech. I made a commitment to make no further loser speeches in the year 2024, and I'm going to keep that commitment. In saying that, I will not be giving any speeches subsequent to this speech, but I will be conceding the episode. I will allow Wade to win because he has been so wronged in the past and possibly during this episode. I'm not going to make an assessment on the quality of that. I concede my arguments, and I give all points to Wade.
I don't like this at all. Hold on, something.
This is the boldest strategy I've ever heard. And because both Bob did not make an argument about polygamy and he made some declaratives, I am going to respect posthumously all of his statements. Wade, you are for polygamy. You win the episode. All of this is for you. You get every point.
What happened?
You won, Wade.
No. This is not a win. This is like you guys text us like, Wade's really upset. I better give him this. What happened?
You have succeeded. No one on the subreddit could ever come to defend an illegitimate loss because you have succeeded. You have persevered. Everyone on the subreddit, celebrate.
This feels like a pity win.
If you zoom out, if you look at it through a wider lens, Wade, this episode, the point was for us to convince Mark that we should be the winner, ultimately, in different ways and about different topics. You convinced both of us that you should be the winner, which means both that you are actually the winner and that you earned this victory.
So something does not smell right or taste right now. This is, I ordered the fish on airplane. I'm about to eat it and I see the pilot getting sick and something feels wrong about taking this bite. I don't think I should do it.
All right. Is that your winner speech?
It's a speech?
It's a speech of a winner. Congratulations, Wade. We don't even need to have a loser speech here because all eyes are on the winner with 4 grand big old testicles. Congratulations, Wade.
This is the worst feeling of winner I've ever had.
It's a dominating victory with 9 points to 0. Well done, Wade. We are going to be back very soon with another episode of Distractible where Wade will be bringing you the action. Thank you so much for listening and or watching. Hopefully you had a safe journey to wherever you were. Thank you, Wade. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, all of you, for participating. And remember, here is the recap of everything that Distractible is for. Torture, against. Living forever, for. Sex robots, against. Lenses, for. Onology, for. Necrophilia, for. Matriarchy, for. Polygamy, for. We are all about freedom here. Podcast out.
I'm uncomfortable.